here in downtown San Diego, and I would like to just visit for a minute before I begin sharing with you a special message. And I welcome you to say hello if you're joining me now for this Facebook Live. Just go right ahead there in the comments section and let me know if you're here. We'll just wait a few minutes. So I've had an amazing 3 weeks. I'm going home on Monday. I've been doing a book tour and it's been wonderful. I've been to Portland and Seattle and I've been to San Francisco and I'm landed here in San Diego at a very special place. And it's not what you think. So, if anyone's there, feel free to say hello. It's a lovely day. The weather is amazing here. I want to say I'm sorry to those people back home in Texas and Louisiana where it's very hot, because it's very nice over here right now. And I'm sorry, I'm getting ready to go back to those very warm temperatures. There's some birds flying high here. We're right near the bay. Well, I see one person's joined me, 2 people's joined me. Who else is here? Ah, hey Ross. I wish you were here with me, but I thank you for being present on this video. Anybody else? Well, I think I'm just going to go ahead and start. And if you want to say hi, feel free to do so as I'm talking. But where I am right now is a special place because 7 years ago today at 3 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon, I stood in this very spot. And it is in the park across the street from this building, which is the Metropolitan Correctional Center in downtown San Diego. And a lot of magic happened in this place, not just on that day, but over the course of nearly a year. And so this is what happened. Most of you know that I had a son named Cory who lived a very dramatic life. And he suffered a lot, and he caused a lot of suffering too. He started as a teenager with a lot of problems with addiction and a very strong, passionate person. Eventually, it landed him into some pretty deep trouble, and come around the time in his early 20s, he, after a lot of trauma and drama, wound up finding his way to Austin, Texas, where he found home and community and sobriety. And after about a year, he had an accident where he collided with a vehicle and had a frontal head lobe injury, and it put him in a tailspin. So he decided to make his way here to downtown San Diego. And he lived homeless on the streets and beaches of San Diego. And after about a couple of months, he was getting tired. So he decided to head on down to Tijuana, Mexico to get some cheap motel and food. And he was approached by coyotes to transport people illegally across the border, which he did. And he was arrested. So here he is with a federal felony offense. He was here at this place. He spent 4 months. And after 4 months, he got time served. And then probation with house arrest in Baton Rouge with me, which is not where he was living before. And that next year was a very, very difficult year for him and for us, because he was very angry that they would not allow him to go back to Austin, Texas, which was his home and where he can find healing. And he kind of spiraled down into this really yucky place. And so after about a year, he was revoked. 3 days before his revocation, he received the supernatural ability to forgive. He had tried before, but he wasn't able to forgive. And he said it was like this huge weight was lifted off his shoulders, and he settled into this unshakable peace. So when they arrested him 3 days later, he had already decided that he was going to transmute his prison sentence into a time of personal transformation. And so when he got into that jail cell, he turned it into an ashram, a temple, a college classroom, a psychotherapist's office, and he began to read and write and meditate and share. He wrote a lot of letters to a lot of people, and he was writing me letters, and it was like he was planting seeds, and he was saying things like, we're all connected. That was new information for me. And he was asking me to read books like Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth, which I did. And he was basically sharing and chronicling his transformation. Eventually he landed back here at this place, at the San Diego Metropolitan Correctional Center. And he was preparing me. I didn't realize it at the time. The fall of 2012, I made a decision to let go of everything I ever believed. Good, bad, right, wrong, traditional religion, and to go to the I don't know. And I didn't know anybody who was doing that except Cory, which was here in San Diego. And my life began to take a different form, different shape. You know, when you're in the middle of a lot of stuff, it's really hard to see a different perspective. It's kind of like you can't see the picture if you're in the frame, and you can't see the forest for the trees. So at the time when I was going through Cory's experience with all of his trauma, all of our trauma, and him being in prison, federal prison, it's hard. It's traumatic. On my 50th birthday, 7 years ago, I decided to come here to visit Cory. And I was allowed to visit him for 2 hours, 2 consecutive days, like a Friday and a Saturday. And when you go in, there's this little room that's not very big. It has these like white plastic chairs that you sit in, like lawn chairs, and you can hug the person when you first see them and when you leave, but otherwise you have to stay like this far away from them, sitting in your chair. Meanwhile, Cory was sitting opposite me, and we were just locked eyes. He was so present with me. It was so amazing. I'd never experienced that from him before. We had so much trauma and so much work we were doing that it was hard to be very present with one another in this way. So it was quite beautiful. It was amazing, quite amazing. So he told me on the third day, he wasn't allowed to have a visit, but he said, go down to this park, which is right across the street, at 3 o'clock and I'll meet you. So now, up there, this is a very tall building. So if you can imagine trying to see someone in a window 15 stories up. It was way up there. And so before I went, I thought, okay, I'll make a sign. And hold up a sign. I thought, I can't read a sign. It's 15 stories up. What am I going to do? So I had this idea. And I made this aluminum foil heart. And at the time, it was really shiny out here. It was a lot of sun. They've done a few things differently here since then. So I came out here to this park and I just started shining this heart. Looking up there. And then I saw it. He was up in the window with the mirror, shining his light and dancing, and shining this light. I saw him, and I was shining my heart, and he was shining his. It was so beautiful, so amazing. It was one of the most profound moments. I left this park after about 15 minutes and I went to a coffee shop and boy was I torn up. I was so sad. So much was happening. I actually kind of got sick after that. It's really difficult. I want to say to you out there, when you're in the middle of it, I mean, right smack dab in the middle of it, going through your trauma, your pain, your anxiety, your sadness, all of it. I'm sorry. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. And it's hard to see any good coming from that. But I want to let you know, lots coming from this. This is what we're healing. And we have to go through it in order to heal it. And it's beautiful. So he lived for another 1.5 years after he got out of prison. And then he died suddenly and unexpectedly. And when he died, it was a powerful awakening experience for me. Wow, it's really traumatic to lose a child. And the way I responded to grief was just going outward in love. I knew intuitively to feel all of my feelings, to let them wash through me. And I just continued to go outward and meaningfully connecting in love. And after about 1.5 years, Spirit said, I need you to start going inward. I need you to start loving the abandoned, rejected parts of yourself. I need you to be still. That's what I've been doing from the beginning. Facing my fears, allowing and opening, and developing practices for loving myself. Through that process, I've come home to myself. Cory's been present with me, the whole thing, extremely present with me as a spirit guide. And now as I've kind of panned out and looked at the whole story from having gone through it and being in the middle of such a beautiful, powerful, healing time, I realized this is an amazing story. It didn't feel so amazing when I was going through it. It felt horrible. It felt like this is the worst thing that could ever happen. But what I didn't see, what I couldn't see, because I was in the middle of it all, that it was perfect. It was beautiful. It was exactly as it was planned. All of it. All of the trauma, all of the pain, all of the conflict. Cory's life and his death was perfect. I'm never separate from Cory. I'm never separate from you or from anyone. We are love itself. And so, here we are. I'm experiencing so much joy, so much freedom by having learned how to love all of these parts of myself that have suffered so much. All of my grief, all of my anger, all of my sadness, all of my anxiety and fear. And I had a lot of fear too. I've learned how to love those parts of me, to embrace those parts of me, to let my sadness wash through me, to listen to sadness, to listen to all of these feelings of not feeling worthy and important, feeling like I don't matter. This is important information that parts of myself have to share with me. It's very old, stuck energy that just wants to be reunited and harmonized. And so when my anger and my sadness and my anxiety and my fears show up, I listen. I listen with compassion and non-judgmental presence. And I say, I'm so, so sorry. I'm here for you. Thank you for trying to protect me and get me what you think I need and want. Thank you, sadness. Thank you, anxiety. This is important. You are important. You matter to me. Though you feel unwanted, I want you. I love and accept you exactly as you are. And I just keep pouring this love upon myself. And the more I do it, the easier it gets. I just allow these things to be here with me now. And this is how I'm opening and opening and opening to the love that we are. This is how I'm able to create a brand new reality, a beautiful new reality for myself and for the entire collective, because we're one. So this past week, when I was in San Diego, I painted some rocks and I situated them into a few places, and the idea was that people could find the rock. Here's one of them, right here. This is We Are Love. And on the back it says, Love rocks, let's play. Post a pic of this rock in the comments of one of my Facebook posts, Cory Roussel, and your location. Then find a new place to pass the love. So I'm gonna leave this rock here in front of the Metropolitan Correctional Center. And who knows what'll happen. So, thank you so much. Thank you, Ross. You're so amazing. I love you so much. I'm so ecstatically happy and joyful about everything. It's perfect. It's beautiful. Well, that's all I have for now. Thank you for joining me.